This is Scotty and Andrew, and you're listening to Fun with Horror.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Scotty.
Hey.
Hey, that was really nice, man.
What episode is this?
We're on episode 7. 7.
7.
Man.
Ooh, 7. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I know.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good week.
I'm with you. It was a good week, and I'm actually super pumped about today's episode.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
The blood is just pumping through you.
It is, man. I feel like I could, maybe this is what steroids is like. I kind of feel like that.
No, stop.
Sorry, but a natural one. I got nothing. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, I've got a question for you while my cat bangs around my living room. So a question hit me the other night, something I was thinking about.
Yeah.
And off the top of your head, can you think of any movies that you didn't like when you first saw them, but then years and years later, you went to watch them and I guess you kind of got it and you enjoyed it more?
Oh, man. I think, you know what one comes to my head is You're Next. Have you seen You're Next?
I saw that. Yeah. I saw. I don't remember much of that. I did see it though. I saw it not too long after it came out. I think pretty much as soon as it hit home video, I rented it.
Right on. Yeah, that was one I saw. Same thing. I saw it kind of right after it came out, and I don't know what it was. Maybe I was just in a bad mood or something. But that was one where I just was like, meh. And then I watched again, I don't know, a few years back. So, again, it's not super fresh in my mind. But I remember being like, okay, I was in a bad mood or something was off that day. Because this was fun. This was a fun movie.
So what you're saying is you watched it the one day out of the year that you were in a bad mood. Because I've never heard you in a bad mood.
I talk to my wife. She'll tell you. What about...
I think you hide it. I think you hide it well because back when you were here in LA, I think there was probably I definitely remember one day you were in a bad mood, and it involved a cabinet at the place you used to work.
Wait, was it a cabinet or a box? Because
no, it was a cabinet.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
The legend was talked about for years to come.
Oh, I hope not.
It was.
Was it really?
Everybody remembered that. Because it was so out of character for you, man.
Oh, man, I can't.
Andrew did that?
Well, I was having a bad day.
The one out of the year.
I'm allowed one out of the year, and that was it. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry.
No, what about you? You brought up the question, but is there a movie that you saw that you...
Well,
yeah.
I would say somewhat obviously. I was watching a movie that made me think about this, and I was watching Sam Raimi's Darkman.
Yeah, with Liam Neeson.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Frances McDormand.
Oh, I do
Holy
not
crap.
remember that was her.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't either. And then I started watching the movie and I'm like, what? Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I remembered
awesome.
I remembered the female lead in the movie, but I didn't picture it in my mind. Like basically all I remembered was Liam Neeson and then the bad guy. But yeah, so I hated that movie when it came out. I hated it.
Wow.
It was just so unrealistic to me and so slapsticky. But you know, it's like over the years I don't dislike Sam Raimi. I always liked him, but I guess over the years I understood his style more. You know, with Drag Me to Hell and then the way he did Spider-Man.
Right.
And of course, I mean, going back to Evil Dead, his style was there too. So over the years, I did not watch Darkman, okay? I'd never seen Darkman except for that first time I saw it, and I think I saw it in theaters back when it released. So this week, I finally decided I've owned Darkman for a while.
Yeah.
And it's one of these movies I purely owned because of Danny Elfman's soundtrack.
Awesome. That's great.
Okay? Yeah. I love Danny Elfman's soundtrack. Even though it's reminiscent of everything else he was doing at that point, it's still a great score, to me, at least. And I loved everything that Sam Raimi's done in the past. Like, he's just risen in my mind. Evil Dead was always there.
Right.
But Drag Me to Hell is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and then I think he did a great job with Spider-Man, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I went back and started watching it this week, and there's still there's some melodramatic moments in that movie, but I appreciated it more for what it was this time instead of what I expected it to be, I guess.
I get that. No, I totally get that.
And I will say I've only watched half the movie, so I haven't gotten to the part where he's hanging from the helicopter and he swings into the office building and he has time to stop and say, "Excuse me," or something like that. I forget. That was the part that broke me the first time. I was like, the inertia of the helicopter would not allow him to do that.
Oh no, Scotty!
I became a scientist or something.
Did. You were a troll. No.
Maybe I was in a bad mood that day.
I think it's the same as me. One a year with you, because it's the same thing, dude.
That definitely isn't true.
Well, you
But
hide it well too.
maybe you and I just bring each other up.
Wow.
Hi.
Ooh, that was beautiful.
Anyway, so yeah, that was my thought of the week.
Love
and
it.
now I want to watch your next again.
I kind of do too. After just now talking about it, like I said, I don't remember everything. It's been a few years, but yeah.
But you've seen it more than once, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think only the twice, to be honest. I think right when it came out, and then I don't know, a few years back.
Yeah, I definitely need to watch that again because I've only seen it the one time, and now you've piqued my interest again.
Ooh, yay! Recording.
Alexa, tell us about the movie Re-Animator.
Here are the Re-Animator movies in order of release date. Re-Animator, Bride of Re-Animator, and Beyond Re-Animator.
Alexa, stop.
That sounds good.
Oh, man. She told us a mouthful. Or a cylinder full, whatever.
Wow, that movie is ruined now. It really spoiled it all.
So, yeah, our movie of the week this week was H.P. Lovecraft's Re-Animator.
Yay!
And, Andrew, you picked it.
I did.
It was a request by friend of the show, Matt.
Yay! Thank you, Matt.
And before we get into it, just your weekly reminder that we do spoil the crap out of the movie of the week. So if you have not seen Re-Animator, by some odd reason, go and watch it and then listen, unless you don't care about spoilers, in which case, keep listening. Hey.
Herbert West is at the top of his class in medical school.
How can you teach such dribble? These people are here to learn, and you're closing their minds before they even have a chance. What are you?
He's brilliant, but a little weird.
I've broken the 6 to 12 minute barrier. I've conquered brain death.
His experiments have always been unorthodox.
It was dead.
But lately, they're getting out of hand.
You picked this movie.
I did.
And you watched it.
I did. I watched it twice.
Yes, you did. We both did. So
Yeah, explain
before
that, yeah.
before we get into it,
Yes.
there are, I don't know if you know this, there are basically 3 versions of Re-Animator floating around out there.
Yes.
There is when the movie first came out, there were two versions that were around. There was the unrated version, which most people saw. It was 85 minutes long. It was very bloody. But then there was also an R-rated version. And I have never seen the R-rated version. I've never heard of it. I've never, even looking for it this past week, it was pretty, I couldn't find it. But basically, it took a lot of the gore out. It added, I'd say, about 15 minutes or so of story.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. People were torn on which version to watch because obviously with a horror movie, you usually want to watch the unrated version.
Right.
But the R-rated version had so much more story to it. So recently, I think Arrow Video released a very comprehensive Blu-ray edition of Re-Animator, and it has what's called the integral version. And yes, I looked up that word, and she said integral.
Good. Okay.
I don't know.
Sure,
I still want to say integral, but
yeah.
integral is how dictionary.com said it. So there you go. Anyway, so you and I both watched the R-rated version.
Right.
And then were able to find the integral version. I already had it, and I just didn't know it. You found it on YouTube.
Yep.
And you watched it.
Yep.
So, having seen both versions, Andrew, what did you think of the Re-Animator? Re-Animator.
Re-Animator. I really loved it.
Oh, good.
I really did. I know. I wanted to do a quick shout out to Matt and just say thanks, man. This was awesome. This is kind of one of those movies that's right up my alley.
Good.
I think, I love horror. Obviously, we're doing the show. We love horror. But, talking kind of more about the intro and stuff, someone like Sam Raimi, I love that style where there's some kind of campiness, I guess, to a movie.
Yeah.
I think that's part of why I love a lot of the 80s movies as well. There's so much camp in it. But this one, I don't know where I was or how I did not see this movie. But boy, I'm glad I did. My first thing I will say is Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West became one of my favorite characters.
Of all time?
Of horror movies for sure. I think he was great in this. He just had the best delivery. I liked the character. He was so creepy and also not. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I loved everything about how he said his lines. He just was like this. He was so confident in everything he said. I don't know. Jeffrey Combs, more power to you, man. You're great.
Yeah, he was born to play Herbert West.
He really was. Like if they I don't know, if they ever made a remake, it would be very hard to find someone that could do that. Like it would just be very difficult. Because
they'd probably just bring him back.
Right? Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares if he's older now? You just change it to an older guy.
That's true. But yeah, I think, we got a great cast, though. I really liked everybody. Bruce Abbott kind of plays our lead hero.
Dan Kane.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Dan Kane. Barbara Crampton, Scream Queen Barbara Crampton plays Megan.
I had a huge crush on Barbara Crampton back in the day. Oh, yeah. Yeah. When I was a teenager, and
right.
There are scenes in this movie,
yeah,
which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously I think every teenager in the 80s had some kind of a crush on Barbara Crampton and Linnea Quigley. Probably, and I hate to be a horny little guy, but yeah, I was a horny little teenager, so the fact that they were naked in these movies probably helped a little bit.
Probably.
Yeah. It was the 80s. It was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
And I'm sorry for the 80s in a way, but
No, never apologize. for
but
the
at
80s.
the same time, I had a crush on her besides those scenes.
Right.
She was just so likable and so easy to fall in love with watching that movie.
Mm-hmm. For sure. She's the girl next door in it. She's just like such a... Yeah, she's just like a cutie patootie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then David Gale, who plays Dr. Carl Hill. Hoofda.
So good.
He's so good. He's so creepy in this. We'll get into him. And then the other...
Unfortunately, he passed away in 1991.
Oh,
so...
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's no longer with us. And
Bummer.
neither is the director. Stuart Gordon passed away last year. So
Oh, really? Oh.
yeah. But Barbara, Bruce, and Jeffrey are still out there, so
That's awesome. And then, Robert Sampson, who plays the dad, he's so great as the dad and the zombified dad, which we'll get into.
Yes.
So, yeah, this movie, though, I mean, like I said, it has just the right amount of camp for me. It has such silly moments. One of my favorite lines now of all time in any movie is right at the beginning, where, like, we see Herbert, our main, Re-Animator,
yeah,
with this guy, and are they in Germany? They're somewhere,
I think so.
And he's with this guy that's freaking out, and his eyeballs pop out, and there's blood.
Dr. Gruber.
Dr. Gruber, yeah, which we hear more about him, but yeah. This lady comes in and is like, you killed him, and this is my favorite line, and I will probably quote this numerous times in my lifetime. She's like, you killed him, and he goes, I did not. I gave him life. And I was like, right then and there, I was like, I'm in. I am hooked. I don't care what happens for the rest of this movie. That sold it. But yeah, so like we said, though, I watched the R-rated version, which I'm glad I did, because I kind of wanted to see what
You mean...
Or
you watched the R-rated version later.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
No, actually, no. I'm sorry. You didn't watch the R-rated version. Both versions that we saw are both unrated.
Oh, okay.
It's just you saw the integral version.
Okay, yes. Afterward. Okay. Like, I'm glad I kind of saw, like, the one maybe more people saw, maybe first, just to kind of see what it was like for most people. And then I'm glad I watched the other one afterward, because there's quite a bit more backstory.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear earlier. But yeah, the integral version, the whole point of that was to bring together the unrated gore from the original unrated version, plus the extra story.
Story.
Sorry, I turned into Sean Connery. Story. So tell me about the Re-Animator, Andrew.
Shaken, not stirred.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, we tangent. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, really the story is this scientist kid. I guess he's supposed to be, because they're in college, I suppose.
Yeah, Dan.
But Herbert West.
Oh, okay.
Is who I'm talking about. Again, we have our other main characters, but Herbert goes to this school where they're working on brains and brain surgery, and he has a serum that essentially brings the brain back to life. So if something dies, it brings it back to life. Which, yeah, it's I know it's a Lovecraft story, but it very much gives me that Frankenstein vibe, bringing the body back to life. So,
and it's no coincidence that the sequel is called Bride of Re-Animator.
Right. True. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, we get this story of our two main love interests of Bruce Abbott, who plays Dan Kane, and then Barbara Crampton, of course, who plays Megan. They're sort of our main characters, these two lovebirds. Barbara's, or I guess Megan, I'll call her. Her dad is the dean, and our main guy, Bruce Abbott, who plays Dan, is dating her. What's funny is in like the original version, there's a scene where all of a sudden the dean, the dad, just gets mad at our main guy and just says like, you're basically out of this school, which is fine, I guess. He gets mad because he's dating his daughter.
Yeah, and that's what you kind of assume. You assume that it's just a mixture of the dean realizing that Dan is dating his daughter, but also in cahoots with Herbert West.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I felt watching the unrated version. Anyway.
Right. And then when you watch the integral.
I hate that word.
Me too. The other version. You find out that Dr. Hill, who's kind of our antagonist of the movie, can essentially like hypnotize people.
Yeah. Now, according to everybody that talks in the extras and the director, it's mind control. It's psychic powers. It's not even just hypnotism. He's got psychic powers.
Sweet. Brilliant. This movie can do no wrong. So yeah, he's the reason. He actually in this extended scene talks to the dean and essentially makes him hate our main character.
Yeah.
Which adds a lot more to that scene where he gets mad. But yeah, anyway, so Herbert comes to this school. He needs a place to stay. That's how he meets our main two, because they have a room for rent. And so he goes there. That cat scene.
Yes.
It's crazy. They have a cat, and one day the cat's just not there. And Barbara Crampton runs into Herbert's room and opens the fridge, and there's the dead cat.
And let me just say that, like, I do not like animal deaths or anything bad done to animals in movies.
Right.
For some reason, it doesn't bother me as much in 80s movies, and maybe because it's just done so unrealistically that I can separate it from the real thing. I mean, these days, if an animal dies in a movie these days, it's real.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Although again, like even the Pet Sematary remake, it didn't really bother me that bad, you know? I don't know. Yeah. But in the 80s, it definitely didn't bother me. And this is a great example of that.
Well, and it's not the best, like, looking cat. Like, for me, it looked kind of like they just tore a stuffed animal open and put some guts around it.
And I'll tell you kind of why later, but keep going.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Yay, you got all the cool goody behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, but Herbert keeps the cat and essentially gives it the serum that he's made. And they're like asleep one night, and our main two hear it, and they go downstairs, and the cat is now alive and freaking out, and it's latched onto Herbert West's back. And Herbert's freaking out, and he's like, hit it. And so, which was kind of an insane scene. Which I really, again, this is kind of that camp factor that I appreciate. But Dan, our main guy, hits it off with a bat, kind of beats it. And they lay it on the table, and Dan is like, what the heck is going on? And Herbert says, I created this serum. Dan doesn't believe him, so he injects this cat that's now cut in half with the serum, and it starts moving around. And that's kind of how Dan gets on board to help him or continue these experiments, which was really fun. Then they decide to go and try this out on a person for more experiments. This scene I really was like, this scene went from like 0 to 10 real quick.
Especially in the unrated version.
Yeah, holy macaroni.
Because in the unrated version, I would say that once they get to the scene you're talking about where they go to the morgue to try and revive a person, and the dean comes in and becomes part of their experiment. Once that all starts happening, the movie is just like a roller coaster until the end.
Right. Yep. Totally, it takes off from there. Absolutely. Because, really, up until this point, we're getting backstory essentially. One thing I did love, though, about this scene, so they, like I said, they go to the morgue to find a body to try this on. But what I love is they're, like, going through all the bodies there in the body bags, and all of them are in, like, zip-up body bags, except one, which has a blanket over it. And they're like, that's the one we should do. It's like, it must have been a little bit easier to do that one without having to unzip or something. But
also that was the one that was a real actor. So
right, yeah, exactly. So it just
actually they were probably all real actors because I don't know if
know.
any of those were dummies back then.
Yeah, I don't know, but it just cracked me up that was the one they picked, was the one person in there with a blanket. But they inject him, and it works. The guy comes to life, and I don't know. I probably should have looked it up. I don't know if he was like a WWE star or anything like that. But that guy's...
He was Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double.
Oh, really?
He was actually working on Predator Terminator. I believe it was Terminator and Re-Animator at the exact same time.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, because he's huge. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Beast of a man. And he doesn't leave much to the imagination either. You see quite a bit of that fella. But he wakes up, starts freaking out, as any dead person would, and kind of is essentially a zombie. I mean, without eating people, but he just is mindless and freaking out. Well, of course, at this point in time, the dean comes to the hospital and goes down to the morgue. And this death was really horrifying. Was there in the morgue, the dean goes right up to the door, and the big beast zombie guy, like, pushes the door open and it lands right on the dean.
Yeah.
Which was, I didn't really expect that, I guess. I just went, oh my gosh.
And there was a real guy, like, the actor that played the dean was actually under that door.
Oh, was he? Oh, yeah, I guess he was, because they lifted it off.
Yeah. He mentions, I watched a making of documentary, and he actually mentions that, that guy was big, and
Oh my God.
He actually did kind of jump up and down on that door a little bit.
Oh, and he's a big guy. That would not feel great. Oh, that's amazing. Wow. But then his death is horrifying, the dean. So what happens, like, when the big guy, lifts him up, bites off some of his fingers, the dean's fingers. Yeah. And then throws him against the wall, and I think that's how he dies. He just hits the wall and then is dead. Yeah. But this was in order to stop him, I love that Herbert just goes over and is like, essentially like, I'll take care of this. And
step aside, Dan.
Yeah, step aside, Dan. Like, the confidence in this guy is insane. Because he's not a big guy either. He's kind of a little guy. But he takes that blade. What's that? A bone saw? Is that what that's called?
Yeah, it was just like a little saw.
Yeah, and just shoves it through the giant's chest. From his
great special effects moment.
It really was. It was awesome. It looked great. It looked creepy. A lot of blood. Super, super well done. And then, of course, that's what I loved about it, too, is now they have, like... That was one thing they were talking about, is if we could get a fresh body. Well, the dean just died. So... Yeah. They inject him. And that's what I loved about that actor. I'm going to look up his name again, because I thought he was really good, too. Robert Sampson, who plays the Dean Halsey. I almost thought it was two different actors. Like, it was Dean Halsey and then zombified Dean Halsey. But it wasn't. I mean, he looked so different as the zombified version and super creepy. But I loved it. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked horrifying.
But now let's get to the genius of David Gale.
Yes.
As Dr. Carl Hill.
Yes.
Because the last almost half of the movie is amazing. Yeah. Because then you have Herbert West. He's trying to blackmail Herbert West, and in the long version of the movie, he's actually trying to hypnotize and control Herbert. Yeah. But Herbert kills him and chops his head off, and now you have, and he reanimates the head and the body. Yes. So we have Dr. Hill walking around with his decapitated head, which becomes almost slapsticky, which was awesome. Yep. And everything about all of that was just fantastic. The last 30 minutes of the movie is unbelievably good.
It really is. And I love, too, that the body... He plays the part so well.
Yeah.
But I love, too, there's like a couple moments I really liked. One was when he has to go in the morgue. And he's obviously a head. So they put on, like... this, you know, like a...
Oh, yeah.
The fake head, you know, that...
The anatomy dummy head.
Yes. And they put that on the body. And it has like a mask on it. And it just looks horrible. But it looks so creepy and awesome. I loved that. But I really love the scene, too, when he puts the head in the tray, I guess, and squirts brand new blood in there. Yeah. And it, like, you know, he's, like, absorbing it, and he just, like, the look on his face was just like, oh, like, this is the stuff. Like, I don't know. I just love that scene. He just played it so well.
I will honestly say that, like, as much as I love Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West,
yeah,
I think the Oscar in this movie absolutely goes to David Gale, because the acting he did as a head,
right, yes,
completely sold it. Like, at all times, even though you know the tricks that they're using,
right,
at all times you actually do kind of believe that he's just a decapitated head by the way he's acting and the way he's talking, and yeah, he's acting like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what a decapitated head would actually act like, but it seemed like that. Yeah,
you're right. He did a great job, and his movements are very subtle. Like, I think he, you know, obviously his body's under, his real body is underneath a blanket or whatever, but he just played it so still, and yeah, he just did a great job. You're right. He acted like a head.
But Andrew.
Yes, sir.
I think we all want to know, what were you thinking during the scene that nobody ever forgets in Re-Animator?
Yep.
When they have naked Megan on the table and headless Dr. Hill is running his tongue down her naked body and then about to perform oral sex, which would have been the first, I believe, the first oral sex performed by a decapitated head in any movie.
I'd say that's probably a fair bet. Yeah.
before Herbert and Dan run in and stop him. What was your thought process during that scene, buddy?
I literally sat there with my mouth open, wondering what the heck I was watching. Like, I really had no idea what to expect. And then
they did talk about that in Search of Darkness. So do you remember them talking about it?
I don't. And
okay,
that's the
good.
thing. Yeah, so it was a surprise for me. But yeah, I kind of just in my head went, are they really going there? And then when he kind of puts his head sort of down, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I really was kind of horrified. I really didn't think that they were going to do it. And then, of course, they didn't, because Herbert walks in and says, with all this knowledge, this is what you choose to do. Or whatever he says. Yeah, that was... What about you? Do you remember, like, the first time you saw it, what you thought?
Oh, I was a teenager. I was like, yeah, what? Oh, my God, she's naked. What? I mean, I was like, I don't know, 12, 13 when I probably saw Re-Animator. You know, so I was probably a mixture of shocked and also elated at the same time that I was watching a movie with a naked woman in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember every little... When I was a teenager, everything like that just made an impression on me because I was a teenager.
Right.
And back in the 80s, I didn't see a lot of that. I mean, it was a big deal when Guns N' Roses said the F word on Appetite for Destruction, you know?
Yep.
I was like, oh my gosh, he said the F word. But yeah, like I loved this movie when I was a teenager.
Yeah, tell me your thoughts. I want to hear what you think.
I loved it. I mean, it was an interesting thing for me to watch it again because I hadn't watched it in many, many, many years. So when I was a teenager, I do remember this being one of my favorites, and I would watch it over and over again. And because this movie pushed the boundaries of gore in a way that not many movies back then had at the time. So yeah, like I felt like I was getting to watch something almost forbidden when I watched this movie when I was a teenager. Obviously, I've seen a lot since then. And watching it, I was wondering how much nostalgia would play a part in everything. And it was kind of like a new experience watching it again. I didn't remember a lot of it. I remembered some of the gorier scenes and some of like the cat and a lot of Dr. Hill with the decapitated head.
Right.
But I totally forgot that he brought all the cadavers to life at the end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that there was the big scene and the intestines coming out of his dead body and wrapping around Herbert West.
Which I still don't quite get that part, how that happened.
Well, Herbert came up and he goes, overdose, and he overdosed the body with his serum. So basically what his serum in the movie did was it killed the body in a way, but it also sent the body into overdrive. Like he brought the intestines to life.
That makes sense.
I know it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, I'll go with it though.
But yeah, I'll go with it too. That's what I assumed, that he just sent the body into overdrive with too much serum and that it ended up killing him, or so we think.
Right.
But yeah, I loved it. One thing that made an impression on me right at the beginning was back in the day, I didn't know much about H.P. Lovecraft. I think this movie was my introduction into H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, right on.
So at the beginning, when they say that they're at Miskatonic Medical School in Arkham, Massachusetts, now I know what that means. Like, Arkham is a city where a lot of things in Lovecraft's stories take place.
Right.
And Miskatonic is a very famous university in his fiction. So I thought that was very cool. I love the opening titles and the opening credits. Love them. Like, some of the best. And I love the musical score by Richard Band. It really brought me back to Tourist Trap in a way.
Totally, yeah. Yep.
I was going to ask you if you felt the same way.
I do now. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, Richard Band has done Puppet Master movies. I think every Puppet Master movie.
Awesome.
He did The Ghoulies back in the day.
Sweet.
And then he did kind of the successor to this movie was From Beyond, which is another story by H.P. Lovecraft that the producer, Brian Yuzna, wanted to make a movie of. And they brought back Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton as other characters.
Sweet.
So I'm going to suggest that you watch that at some point.
Okay.
Because it's interesting. It's an interesting follow-up to this one.
Okay.
But yeah, Richard Band did the score to that as well. The security guard cracked me up.
He's like...
He was the best, worst security guard I've ever seen. He's like, oh, well, people are here. I'm going to go.
Yep. You guys
I'm going on my break.
And I think, isn't he looking at a dirty mag, too?
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
Right there in front of him.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
So the integral version, though, was interesting to me because I did appreciate the extra stuff, but after finishing it, like the hypnotic psychic powers, I felt definitely were not needed.
Right.
It was an interesting side thing to show that, you know, that's how he was controlling these people, but it really wasn't needed that much.
I get that. What do you think?
But
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, but I did appreciate the extra character development of Dan and Megan and their relationship.
Me too.
There was also more of I mean, strangely enough, there was more character development of Dan and his cat. Like, that he actually did love his cat, because in the unrated version, you know, all of a sudden he cares about this cat that you hardly ever see in the movie.
Right.
That jumped on his back after they were done making love. You know, so there was like some character development of the cat, which makes you feel a little bit worse for the cat when Herbert does his experiments on it.
Right.
I think one of my favorite things that I totally forgot is so basically at the end when everything's going crazy, Megan's father, Dean Halsey, as zombified Dean Halsey, protects her.
Yeah.
He finally cuts through the haze and he realizes his daughter's in trouble and he goes after Dr. Hill and takes care of him. And he crushes the head and then he headbutts it, which was the best. I loved him headbutting that head.
So good.
And then when he throws it against the wall, it was so. I mean, it sold the scene. It was great.
Totally. And his death was great too. Getting
Yeah.
ripped to
Then
pieces.
yeah.
I mean, I
Very
liked it.
quick.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But it was fun.
So secret. They had one last day to shoot the film, and they had that entire final sequence of dead bodies rising to shoot.
Whoa.
They shot all day and night
Oh my.
to finish the
gosh.
movie. So there's some exhaustion you see in the characters, and they mentioned in the extras that was completely real.
Wow. Oh my gosh. What'd you think? Real
Yeah, go
quick.
ahead.
What'd you think of Herbert shooting up his own serum? Because that was in the
That was interesting, and it's weird because now when I saw that scene, I was thinking, which version did I watch as a kid?
Oh, interesting.
Because I seem to remember that scene, but at the same time, I also remember all the gore and the unrated stuff. So, who knows? I may have seen the R-rated version and not even known it.
Crazy. Okay.
Who knows?
Who
But yeah, I
knows?
thought that was interesting. I didn't think it was needed.
Agreed. Yep.
It's just, it explains how Herbert was able to stay up all night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. I mean, I still love it. I was able to watch it twice last week, and then extras, bonus features about the movie, and I still haven't watched them all. There's tons on the Blu-ray.
That's awesome.
Did you know, Andrew?
Oh, no, maybe.
Re-Animator itself, the story, which is called Herbert West, or Dr. Herbert West Re-Animator.
Oh, okay.
It was written in, I think, 5 parts by H.P. Lovecraft. It was like a little series. And
cool.
they originally pitched the movie as a series, thinking PBS might be interested.
Whoa.
PBS was
What?
not interested,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
which allowed them to do more of what they ended up doing, I guess. Like, they just pushed the envelope and they didn't even care.
Wow.
Also, Richard Band's musical score, and this is my final bit of trivia.
Oh, yay. Okay, cool.
His original score was compared quite a bit to Bernard Herrmann's Psycho score, which I can hear when I watch the movie. I didn't really think of it except for a couple parts, but it was completely meant to be an homage to the score to Psycho.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like that.
Now, before we get into our 3 questions,
Ooh,
Andrew,
yes. Yeah.
is there anything you'd like to add?
I'm going through my notes. No, I really, honestly, it was fun. Like, this was kind of what I was expecting it to be in the best way. I love camp. I love horror. I love when you mix them, and this is what we got. So,
I'm
totally-
super happy you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's totally fun.
Yeah. Because I figured you would, but there's always like the doubt in my mind. What if this hasn't aged well? you know?
Right. Yeah.
And what if I love it because of the nostalgia factor? But
Right.
I think you're able to put yourself back in that time period.
I think so. Yeah, I'm usually pretty good at that.
So
Yeah.
on to our 3 questions.
Yay. Okay.
Andrew, was this movie gory?
Oh my gosh, yes. I think this one of our list so far, of every movie we've watched so far, is the goriest.
Absolutely.
This one had so much gore. Like, if you're a horror fan, you want some gore, do yourself a favor, go watch Re-Animator. There's a lot.
And even though it's all practical effects and you pretty much know how everything is done,
Right.
I mean, there were even moments where I was kind of like cringing a little bit at how, like, in disgust
Yeah.
at
Yep.
some of the scenes. I was like, ooh, you know? Even though I know it's special effects, but it was just really well done.
Totally. I agree.
Andrew, was this movie scary?
I don't know. Again, I would say it wasn't scary. I would say it was... Yeah, for me it wasn't. Like I said, when I see scary, I want to put a blanket over my face. This one I was just totally captivated and had just enjoyed. So I don't think it was necessarily scary. Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
No.
Yeah.
Not scary at all.
Yeah.
I don't... Even when I was a teenager, I was not scared of this movie.
Yeah.
It's not really... I don't know. I'd say the only creepy moments is when they're searching for the cat. And then when Dan wakes up to the weird noises of the cat, like...
Yeah.
Maybe that was a little creepy back in the day, but no. It's not scary at all.
Yeah. I agree.
And our final question, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
And I know the answer to this.
You are.
Did you have fun with horror?
I had so much fun with horror. This one was, like I said, this was fun. I mean, honestly, it was fun. This movie is fun. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is, I'd say this is one of the best 80s horror movies, in a way. Like, for what it did.
Mm-hmm.
I always have fun watching this movie. Super gory, super bloody. They went over the top with it. It's definitely a different type of movie than some of the other 80s horror movies that we've seen.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily reviewed on here, but that we've seen personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, on our little review scale, yes, I had fun with horror watching Re-Animator.
I'll have you locked up for a madman. Or a murderer.
Well, Andrew.
That's another movie down that we discussed.
Yeah. 7 movies.
7 movies, man. This is great.
All right.
We're getting through. Now, my question to you, since we have done 7...
I can't imagine what your question might be.
Right? Well, here's the first one. What's your social security number? Boom.
Oh,
you weren't
it's
expecting
672. Oh, sorry. Oh my God.
Oh, come on.
Hey,
hey, let's knock it off. All right.
Let me be clear. My social security does not start with 672.
I know we're going to have like that one guy listening like, oh my gosh, I'm getting this.
He's like, I only have 6 more numbers to guess.
I'm gonna rob Scotty. Ruin his life. Okay, that being said, what movie are you picking for next week? I'm very excited about this, by the way. But what movie have you picked?
Yeah, I think you know. Normally Andrew and I do not know what the other person is gonna pick, but yeah, we've just mentioned this a few times, and I have held off watching Malignant by James Wan. And holy crap, man. I've always followed a few horror themed accounts in my Twitter and Instagram. But basically, since I started our Fun with Horror Instagram and our Fun with Horror Twitter, I've become part of what's known as horror Twitter, I guess. Yeah, there's like a whole like subgroup of Twitter. And I guess Instagram too, but mostly Twitter. That's just, people that love horror talking to each other. And there's been so much drama in the past week between people that really liked Malignant and people that did not like Malignant at all.
Whoa, okay.
And I've not paid attention to the drama because the last thing, one of my biggest pet peeves is people that like their opinion is the end all be all.
Right.
Where if somebody disagrees with their opinion, they're just wrong.
Yeah.
And so I stay far away from all that. But yeah, evidently like people that don't like Malignant pretty much feel like nobody should like Malignant.
Wow.
And then people that like Malignant think that the people that don't like Malignant are just idiots and like they're just being too harsh because James Wan is a horror movie god.
Right. Yeah.
But I've stayed so far away. I barely even. I'll be honest, Andrew. I don't really even know what Malignant is about.
Fair enough.
So I'm super excited to watch it.
Yes.
To finally see what this movie is about and what, how it is.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I think that's a
So
great choice.
that's our movie for next week. It's on HBO now still,
Yep.
and it is called Malignant
Yay.
by James Wan.
Oh, awesome. That's going to be fun.
Are you excited?
Dude, yes, of course. I'm always excited.
Dude, what are you talking about?
Come on.
Of course I am.
Come on.
You
First you're trying to
idiot.
give out your social security number, now you're asking if I'm excited. Scotty.
8-2.
It's that guy again that's like,
Four numbers left.
Oh my
Come on.
gosh, I'm
It's like the lottery.
Oh my god. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Oh, dude. I love talking with you, man.
Hey, I love talking with you.
This has been fun.
There's like silence.
I know.
Silence. Okay.
Done.
We are finished. This has been episode 7 of Fun with Horror.
Yep. And this was, as always, man, a blast.
A blast.
Thank you for
Thank
watching
Oh.
and talking.
I don't think anybody's watching. We haven't done
I
that
meant
yet.
The movie.
Oh, the movie. Oh,
for
I thought
watching
you
the
meant the
movie.
podcast.
No, thank you for listening to it, though.
I mean, I do watch the little numbers, like the little time go forward. Like, oh, God, how much time is left?
When is Andrew going to be done talking?
When is Scotty going to be done talking? God, I sound horrible live.
Knock it off. You sound great.
Andrew, I'm going to go play with my cats
Awesome. And
because they're
I'm
still alive and have not been reanimated.
Good. That's good. Well, please give your love to your cats as well as
I will.
as well as your lady friend at home.
I will.
And thank you to everyone listening. Thank you for comments. Again, we have all the social medias. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course,
Yeah, Facebook. Did
Yeah,
we
we have
wait?
Facebook.
We already talked about Facebook.
Yeah, but
Never mind.
It's new. It's newer.
Yeah, but and I'll just add again. I mentioned this on our Instagram, but our Facebook account is where we're going to mostly be taking requests.
Right.
Because it's a lot of work for people to type in an email address.
Yeah. Yep.
funwithhorrorpodcast@gmail.com and send a request in. So I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna do a post at the top of our Facebook page and say, hey, if you guys have any requests for us, send them along.
Oh, that's perfect. And quick reminder as well that we do have a Spotify account where Scotty has we have a bunch of songs on there. What are we at now? Like 8 hours or something?
Yeah, we're still at 8 hours.
8
I haven't
hours?
added anything since last week.
Yeah, that's all right. That's perfect. 8 hours. If you want to go listen to a sweet playlist of 8 hours of horror music, hop on our Spotify. It's amazing. On that note,
I just want to add,
oh yeah,
Andrew,
please. Yeah.
my cat is dreaming right now.
Oh,
Her little paws are twitching.
kitty.
If cats could dream of Freddy Krueger, what would it be like?
Well, they already have the claws.
Would it be like a kitty? Would it be a kitty Freddy Krueger? Yeah.
Oh, it'd probably be one of those naked cats.
Oh. Sphinx cats are...
Yeah, totally. With like one hand that has the claws are just a little longer than the
Would
other.
it be a dog?
Oh, that's good.
But then again, like, I mean, Freddy is a kind of a human
That's
in
true.
the movies,
True.
stalking other humans. So I guess it would be a cat, and it would be that Sphinx cat you're
Yep.
talking about.
I think that works.
No offense to any Sphinx owners out there.
No, I love Sphinx cats. They're great.
Love them.
Love them.
They're our favorites.
Yep. Don't hurt.
They're the sponsors. They're our sponsor.
Yes. Go
Fun
out
with
today.
Horror. Sponsored by Sphinx Cats.
2 for the price
that
of 1 at Dan's
sounded
local
really-
Sphinx shop.
We should probably say goodbye.
Yeah, probably. Now we're just going
Okay.
on. All right.
Yep.
I
love you,
you,
Andrew.
Scotty. Love you, man.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
killed him. No, I did not. I gave him life.